Did you know that? Although it is estimated that there are only 316 million native speakers, a total of 1.6 billion speak it as a first, second, or third language. Over the centuries, English has become a bridge language that has grown alongside cross-border trade, diplomacy, and culture. And even though the numerical advantage of Chinese and Spanish dominance is rooted in history, centuries of colonization, industrialization, and globalization have brought it to almost every corner of the world. Linguist David Crystal estimates that 60 to 70 varieties of English have developed since the 1960s as a result, but it is also rooted in practice. Over the centuries, it has slowly become our global linguistic currency, a shared language that practically greases the machinery of an increasingly interconnected world. The importance of English as a global lingua franca is particularly notable in international business. Even in fields where speaking multiple languages is highly valued and diversity is most important, diplomacy and education, for example, English remains the dominant language. The online space, on the other hand, continues to lean towards English. The online space, on the other hand, continues to lean towards English, but in many ways it is more representative of the diversity that characterizes our world. Although English is the founding language of the World Wide Web and was predominant in its early days, only 40% of online content is in English today, and less than 30% of its users are native speakers. As millions of people join the internet as content creators, its linguistic composition becomes even more diversified. The popularity of social networking sites in China is an example of this transition away from English. And how does English influence Mexico? In some cases, speakers tend to use an English word due to the lack of an equivalent word, or because the English word is simpler, more often because it is monosyllable. Eastman and Stein clarify that hybrid borrowing is the adoption of words from another language to fill a lexical gap or expand the meaning where the original language will not work. They stated that there are a number of important points to consider about language loans. In the first place, it is that the loan does not presuppose a knowledge of the language. Second, speakers are not really aware that English words are borrowed, especially if the word has been assimilated into the pronunciation of their language. Finally, another reason why English is widely used in the media is due to language shift. Maya Lang Rabindranath defines linguistic displacement as the process by which a community consisting of bilingual speakers gradually ceases to use one of its two languages. The preferred language is almost always that of the dominant majority or linguistic group. Linguistic shift is a gradual change that often begins with the youngest speakers of a language. These speakers begin to use the other language for various reasons. More often, even though a word exists in the language, speakers may choose to use a word from the other language because it is simpler, often monosyllabic. A person may also choose to use a majority language because the minority language is not as useful. Perhaps they need to use the majority language to receive an education or to communicate with others. Lang writes that in these cases, this can lead to language endangerment and eventually language extinction. So why master the English language? Speaking a second language opens the door to many personal and professional opportunities, which is why today people who speak more than one language receive more and better job offers. It has been proven that bilingual people have superior skills than those who only communicate in one language. English. spoken on 5 continents and by powerful nations. English is considered the international language since it is the most used in business and international trade. Most universities ask for an advanced command of this language as a graduation requirement. No matter at what age a language is learned, whether from childhood or as an adult, it has been proven that being bilingual is beneficial for people's cognitive development since it improves flexibility, memory, and brain ability. The main benefits of learning a new language are better decision making. A brain that knows how to move quickly between two languages is one that has the ability to analyze several simultaneous situations, an essential skill to make better decisions. Memory increase. Knowing 2 or more languages requires a lot of dedication, attention to detail, and most importantly, an active and efficient memory that manages to retain a large amount of information. It reduces the possibility of mental illness. Doctors have discovered that bilingual people strengthen their brains, thereby reducing the possibility and effects of mental illnesses such as Alzheimer's and dementia. Professional growth. One of the most demanded requirements in the workplace is the command of a second language. Bilingual professionals are recognized for their preparation with better positions and higher salaries. In Latin America, this impulse gained strength at the end of the 1990s in countries such as Argentina, Chile, and Colombia. In Mexico, for many years, the official teaching of English was limited to secondary and preparatory schools. However, starting in the 1990s, 5 states of the Mexican Republic began implementing programs for teaching the English language in their public primary schools. From 2000 to 2003, another 13 were added to the previous states, and in 2009, there were already 21 states. However, much remains to be done in terms of training in universities. According to Hernandez, 2012, in Latin America, the teaching and learning of at least one language other than Spanish is still a challenge in professional training, since there are still difficulties or progress is slow to incorporate it into the language teaching study programs and ensure that students upon graduation have the knowledge and command of at least one foreign language. Here are some possible causes of this problem. 1. In many cases, there is a lack of teachers with a linguistic profile to effectively influence language learning. 2. Derived from the dynamics of each institution, there is a little interest motivation for learning other languages, since it is perceived as a subject unrelated to the study program. Students come to believe that it will not be of any use to them. 3. The necessary infrastructure for language teaching is lacking. Libraries, multimedia laboratories, internet, etc. On the other hand, studying English or learning any language other than the native language can generate certain stimuli in the brain that help improve skills in other areas such as creativity, problem solving, reasoning, or mental ability. One of the long-term benefits of acquiring another language is that you are always learning, thus keeping your brain active. As a result of this, recent studies maintain that learning a foreign language can delay Alzheimer's disease for the same reason, since the brain remains active and therefore the neuronal connections continue to regenerate. Without exception of university degrees, most of the scientific articles and documentary sources to be used are in English. In most areas of knowledge, frontier literature is found in languages other than Spanish, mainly English. Therefore, the lack of these tools limits the comprehensive education of the student. Why study English? Simply because it is essential when it comes to finding work. This language will provide access to a better education and therefore the possibility of a better job. Job opportunities will multiply in terms of the level of language proficiency. English will always bring advantages when it comes to getting a job. Likewise, it will make it possible to discover new cultures and traditions, relate to the world, and therefore enter unknown spaces. Until then, it is the opportunity to better understand and analyze the surrounding society, perceive its characteristics, ways of acting, and feelings. Are you already convinced of the importance of learning English? Well, then start today.